you're on pace for 70 wins right now. The Mariners are winning 55% of their games. They're on pace for 90 wins this year. You have to win 64 of your remaining 102 games to get to 90. That's just 90. 90 is bare minimum, and that's to maybe win the AL West. That's not getting you a wild card this year with the Orioles on pace, who you're playing a little bit, for 105 wins, and the Royals on pace for 96 wins. Sure, some of these teams are going to cool off, and potentially the Astros can heat up. But, we talk about this sample size, and I think at the beginning of the year, a lot of the people who have been diehard Astros zealots who were saying, wait until October, even you have to admit that they have not had a hot streak yet. So why are we saying that the hot streak is going to come? 6 games in a row. That's the longest winning streak of the year. And they haven't won consecutive games since they did that. That was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I would say that between now, today, June 3rd, and June 20th, when this 15-game stretch, this next 5 series where you play the Cardinals, the Angels, the Giants, the Tigers, and end with the White Sox before we play the Orioles, I think they need to, you want to make me a believer? 12 of 15.
12 of 15. That's an 80% winning clip.
They got to win 63 to get to 90.
Yeah. And
you got to make it up when you're playing the bumps.
Exactly. This is when you play teams that are below 500 that are in theory, you're 15 and 14 in the last month. You're doing good. You need to do better than that. You have to win these games. Now and it continues a little bit after that too. So your stretch between now and the All-Star break is really cake. You play the Orioles from the 21st to the 23rd, and then you play the Twins again in July, right after the 4th, and you play the Rangers the last 3 games of the series.
Who you own this year of all teams.
But besides that, you are playing below 500 teams the entire time. You have the Rockies, you have the Mets, you have the Blue Jays, the Marlins. This is your... So I guess you could push it to July 14th, before the All-Star break. But
no,
even then, it's probably too late. I think you got to win 12 of the next. You got to win at least 10 games of the next 15.
I don't think what you ask for, 12, is unreasonable to ask for. Mm-hmm. The reason I said 12 is a lot.
Because it feels impossible?
Because you're asking them to be consistent. This is what you can't win 12 out of 15 without a 5-game win streak somewhere in there.
Exactly. And let's go back to what we talked about at the very beginning of the show, because I think we got to continue to play this. Joe Espada, manager of the Astros, on Friday, after that very disappointing loss to open up this series against Minnesota, had this to say about them wrapping up the month of May 15 and 14.
Is it disappointing that you had to go 15 and 14 during, May?
No, compared the way we started our season, I think we heading in the right direction. I think we're playing really good baseball. We facing the last 5 days. We facing some pretty good pitching, and we're getting after it. Our effort is there. Our approach is there. We just gotta continue to push. But I think we're playing better baseball than what we did a month ago.
That's true, because April was so bad.
Yes.
But really good baseball? No. And to what, Joe, you're asking for, that does not sound like somebody who's telling them, hey, man, at some point you're going to have to win 12 out of 15. It feels like he's just sitting back and hoping it's all going to figure itself out.
Yeah, it sounds like to me that at the end of the year, they will miss the playoffs. They will have won 10 of 15 games, the last 15 games of the season. They will have missed the playoffs by 6 to 8 games. And Joe Espada will say, hey, we played really good baseball to end the season. We'll hope to sign Bregman. We'll regroup. We'll be back in 2025, and we'll be back on track. That's what this is leading to. It's going to take these moral loser victories that this franchise is above. This is what I expected to hear from David Culley and Lovie Smith. This is what I expect to hear from Steven Silas. This is not what I expect to hear from the Houston Astros organization. They are above this.
I'm going to read some comments. The Twitch is lighting Joe Espada up. Not surprising, but I think deserve it, especially after that quote. Todd the Show said one thing I'm not going to repeat, but he's a kindergarten coach. Mm-hmm. Grinding on Coffee and Whiskey says he's talking out his ass. Ain't fooling many people out here, dude. Yeah. I mean, if you're going to go to the podium and operate that way, and you want to be the pincushion for all of the shrapnel that's going the Astros players' way, fine. I really hope behind closed door that you're doing more than this, and it really doesn't feel like that's in Espada's personality. You know, he is. People used to say this about Dusty Baker, and for those who don't know, I'm wearing an in Dusty I Trusty
Didn't notice that
t-shirt today. Just a coincidence. Totally a coincidence that I wore this shirt today. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. People were acting like Dusty Baker running this team. I mean, he was basically sitting behind something that could be autopiloted.
Yeah.
I don't know how Dusty specifically would handle the situation, but I know that even with many questions that I had about Dusty Baker's daily decisions, I would feel pretty good about Dusty Baker finding a way to light a fire under this team's ass. Even if he is mellow by nature, we've seen Dusty Baker erupt like Mount Vesuvius in the middle of the ALCS, game number 5, right?
Yeah.
So this is something that Espada is going to have to deal with in a way that I don't think he's dealt with yet. And is he capable of it? I think every human being is capable of it, but he actually, I think, has to operate and react differently than the way that he is reacting, because there's too much everything's fine, nothing to see here, and it doesn't feel like there's a lot of looking in the mirror from anyone in positions of power. And I'm sure these Astros players are doing it too. But look, it's hard to be this good for such a long period of time. At some point, you need somebody on your ass to motivate you. That's why coaches are a big part of sports.
Yeah, I don't think Joe Espada will. I'm not sure Joe Espada will be the manager of this team next year. I was going back, just seeing the way they were struggling, and I found this story from November last year, in which it talks about how Jim Crane, his goal was to make a splashy, big name hire for their manager. And at the time, everyone's like, well, it's only Craig Counsell. And that was right when he got hired by the Cubs. So it's like, well, what's next? And then the follow-up to that was, but Dana Brown wants Joe Espada. And if this season does not turn around in the way we ask, and Jim Crane wanted a big name manager, and Dana Brown is the one that chose Joe Espada, will Jim Crane fire them both and say, I don't care if Jose Abreu's bad. I told you to go get a big name manager. You failed.
I gotta say,
you're both out, because this is what, I know Creighton would talk about this story. I think Nightingale as well. How part of the reason why James Click got fired was because Jim Crane told him to get Starling Marte, and he failed to do so. When Crane tells you to do something and you bomb, you get the blame.
But imagine if you fire both. What happens next? Who's going to want to come here?
Osmus is coming. I'm telling you. Brad Osmus is coming.
I almost dropped
He is the assistant. He is the bench coach for the New York Yankees right now. He will be the next manager of the Houston Astros. He interviewed to be the GM instead of James Click in 2020.
Manager/general manager. A new title for the Astros to, let's just say, streamline their payroll.
I was gonna say part of the reason it's easy for Crane to fire Joe Espada, like Joe George here just pointed out that it was Dana Brown's side. That's one of the ups. We talk a lot about how there's too many cooks in the kitchen, how everyone has their own little pet project that they work on. Makes it easier for Jim Crane to be like, that didn't work because only one person hired him. So yeah, we can just snip that one off. I was never a Joe Espada guy anyway. Mm-hmm. Let's go out and get Brad Osmus, Terry Francona. Is Lou Piniella still alive?
He's not.
Can we go?
Oh, actually, you know what? My bad.
Can we go get Joe Torre?
I don't know if Lou Piniella.
Jim Leland? Can we hire Jim Leland?
He's getting honored by the Tigers.
Piniella is 80, but I don't believe he's in the best of health. The last I heard.
Okay.
When do we start getting?
Is there some other big name?
When do we start getting bring back Dusty texts?
Right now.
Oh, we haven't. Those haven't started.
They're typing in the phone number to text us right now.
Ozzy. Can we get
back?
Ozzy?
Would you come back if you're Dusty to this?
No.
Ozzy Guillen.
Oh, I'd love my personal friend.
I think Ozzy coming back would be awesome.
I love it. People think I don't like him because he cussed at me. No, I thought it was the funniest thing ever. Everyone also then got really mad at him for that. And I was like, well, he said nice try, kid, afterwards. I don't know. I thought it was he was just being himself.
Yeah.
I think he was just talking out of his ass in that magazine interview, and he's in the wrong city to talk about loving Fidel Castro. Miami is the
last one
of every
Last one.
city in the
And
United States.
Basically any other city. in the United States.
You could have said that in Chicago. I think he'd have been okay. You said it in Miami. No, you effed dog.
Is Don Mattingly a manager anywhere? Could he maybe be in? I'm just trying to think of big name players that turned into. David Ross.
Mattingly would
gross.
have that Reggie Jackson connection. So.
Yeah.
I want to vomit.
Yeah, I think you get bonus points if you're either an Astro or a Yankee.
Yeah, Joe Girardi.
Joe Torre?
Joe Girardi, Carlos Beltran. Yeah, he signing him worked last time. Implemented some changes that helped turn things around. This season we compared it on Saturday, BMAC and I, to 2016 a lot, where it feels like they're going to spend most of the year trying to dig themselves out of the hole that they dug themselves, and they might be playing good baseball at the end of the season. It just doesn't matter because there are a million games under 500 in April.
So what you're saying is 2025 champs?
Exactly.
I mean,
Exactly. Just hire Carlos Beltran, just like you signed him to be a DH and veteran locker room presence.
bang those trash cans.
Figure something out.